Good evening. How's everyone doing? Okay, so if you have questions about English, then ask me. Hello, Ornella. I'm not bad. I have a little scratchy throat this morning. Not sure why. Might just be allergies and the change of season. But I'll try not to cough too much. So, who has a question about English? Loyal, did you want to come talk with me? Hello, my friend. How are you?
دقيقة بنما. Hi, teacher Mark. How are
Hello.
you?
I'm fine. How are you?
What are you doing? I'm good.
Good. What am I doing? Well, I'm teaching right now. So, how can I help you today? Did you have a question for me?
Yes, I have question for you, Mark. Teacher Mark. I want to know about different about two words, can and could.
Can
Can.
and could. Okay.
Yes.
Let me pull up something about this so you can see. It's not that complicated. Most of the stuff about can and could is pretty basic, but let me just show you a couple of things that will help you. Wait a minute. All right. All right, let's see. Let me share my screen here, and I'll show you the difference between can and could. All right, here we go. So can is used to talk about the present, right? So I can talk to you right now. I can, okay? I could talk to you tomorrow, or I could have talked to you yesterday, right? So could can be about the future, or could be about the past, okay? So, but the word can is used to talk about the present, or it's about general ability. Can you swim? Can you fly? Right? Or possibility. Can you go to the movies with me tomorrow? That's a possibility. Okay? Or to make informal requests or offers. I can pick you up tomorrow, or can you pick me up tomorrow? That's an informal request or offer, right? So, look, I can speak Spanish. That tells you the ability. You have the ability to speak Spanish. It can get very hot in the summer. That's a possibility. It can get very hot sometimes. It's possible. Permission. Can I use your phone? You're asking for permission. Or a request. Can you help me with this? Okay? But now we have could. Could is used for past ability, right? So I could read faster when I was younger. I could swim better when I was younger. I could. That's a past ability, right? Polite requests. Could you pass me some sugar? Could you pass the milk? That's a polite request. Possibilities. of the past or future or hypothetical. So, in the past, for example, we could have had lunch last week. If you had called me, we could have had lunch. That's in the past. Or in the future, we could have lunch next week if you're free. If you're free or available, we could have lunch next week. Or a hypothetical. Hypothetical means something that didn't happen, but you're imagining it to happen. Like, if I won the lottery, I could travel around the world. If I won the lottery, I could travel around the world. That's a hypothetical. So, here we go. Ability. When I was young, I could run fast. That's an ability in the past. Polite request. Could you help me with this is more polite than can you help me. Could you help me is more polite. Okay? And then possibilities. It could rain tomorrow. It could rain tomorrow. She could have been a great singer. Okay? That's a hypothetical. And then suggestions. We could go to the beach tomorrow. Okay? If I say we can go to the beach tomorrow, that's definite. We could is a possibility. It's a suggestion. Okay? Maybe you want to. Okay? So there you go. And now here's a quick comparison. So, use can when it's a present ability or a less polite request or a possibility that's a present or general possibility. That's when you use can. Use could when it's a past ability, a polite request, or a past future hypothetical. All right?
All right.
And again, how did I get this answer? I went to ChatGPT and I just said, explain can versus could with examples. A very simple prompt. Okay?
Yes, I screenshot now, Teacher Mark.
Yeah, go ahead.
Thanks, Teacher Mark, for explaining about this sentence.
You're welcome. Yeah, no, it's a common question. Many people are not sure about can and could. It's okay. Here, let me stop sharing that. Do you have any other questions for me?
Nothing, Teacher Mark.
No?
Thank
Okay.
you very much. Thank you
All
very
right.
much.
You're welcome. All right. Well, thanks for coming on my stage, and I'll see you next time then, okay?
Thank you.
All right. Take care. Bye-bye. Let's see. Let me check the comments here. Should you be able to discuss every single topic in English to be able to travel? No. You can travel without knowing anything. People do it all the time. People go to a country and not speak one word. It happens every day. Every day on this earth, there's somebody traveling someplace where they don't speak one word of the language. It's silly now. It used to happen all the time, right? 30 years ago, that was super common because we were not that international yet as a domestic population, right? Domestic populations didn't travel as much as they do now. So now it's more commonplace. But in the past, it was one of those things where, or I should say, it was more commonplace in the past because in the past, the likelihood of you traveling to some place and not knowing the language and not having an ability to know the language was much higher. So you should, if you want to go someplace, Raham, the best thing you can do is get a travel English guidebook. They have books these are some of my favorite books for learning any language. If you want to learn a language, my suggestion is the first book you should get is a travel book about that language. Because travel books are designed to teach you everything you need to know about the language quickly so that you can use it for a short period of time on your vacation. But if you use that same book as a study book, it's a fantastic introduction to a language. Okay, so if you want to know, if you ask me what's the best way to start studying any new language, my recommendation wouldn't be to get a book like a textbook, about Arabic. or French or German. No, I would say get a travel phrase book about Arabic or French or German and start with that. Okay? If I ask, could you help me, is it just for respect and has nothing to do with tenses? It depends on the context, Raham. By itself, could you help me would be just a simple way of asking for help more politely. But if there was some context involved, like you were saying, next week I need to move, and I need some friends to help me move my things. Could you help me? Now that's in future tense, right? So it depends on the context. Okay? Do you use the expression to be down to earth in American English? Yes, we do, for sure. I use it pretty often. Well, not often, but anytime that I need to describe someone who's very easy to get along with and very easygoing, and they just have there's a sense when you're around them, you feel relaxed and comfortable and calm, like you don't have to try hard. That person is very down to earth. That's the way I describe someone who's down to earth. A down to earth person is someone who's laid back. They're someone who makes you feel comfortable about who you are. They're very open-minded and, kind of quietly respectful about other ways, right? That's a down to earth person. Let's see. Could I explain about the usage of would? Okay. Well, let's go back. And I will explain it for you. All right, let's take a look. So, the uses of would. Okay, what did I say into ChatGPT? I said, explain the usage of would. Right? So here we go. Would is for polite requests. Would you like some coffee? Would you help me with this? Okay? It's more polite, more formal. Okay? Instead of will you help me, that sounds stronger and less polite. It sounds more insistent. Possibly, depending on you. If you're saying it like, will you help me? That sounds a little more insistent, right? If I just say, will you help me? That's not too bad, but would you help me is more polite and more likely to be responded to well, okay? Number 2, hypothetical or imagined situations. If I had $1 million, I would travel the world. Now, you could change that to could, and it would just now change the meaning to have the ability to, right? So would is want to, but could is can, right? So if I had $1 million, I would travel the world. She would buy a new car if she had enough money, right? These are common and second conditional sentences. If blah, 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 then blah, 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 right? Past habits, similar to used to, right? So, for example, when we were kids, we would play outside every day. You could substitute used to and say, when we were kids, we used to play outside every day. Okay, so would sometimes just means used to. My grandfather would tell us stories at night. My grandfather used to tell us stories at night. Okay, used to. That's a really good one to learn. I used to do something means I formally, in the past, I did it. Okay? I don't do it now. I used to go to that restaurant all the time. I used to perform every Friday night at this place. Okay? We used to go on vacation every summer. All right, so there we go. And then future in the past. So, for example, he said he would call me later. I thought it would rain, but it didn't. Okay? And then finally, for softening statements, like to sound less direct and more polite, you can say, I would say it's a good idea. Right? Instead of just saying, it's a good idea, I would say it's a good idea. It's softer, it's more. You're instead of pushing the information on someone, you're presenting the information. I would say it's a good idea. Okay? I would imagine she's busy right now. Instead of she's busy right now. I would imagine she's busy right now, right? Instead of pushing you with the information in a direct way, you're presenting the information in a polite way. Okay? Got it? So there you go. So again, the usage of would is for polite requests or offers, hypothetical situations, past habits, future in the past, meaning like she said she would arrive at 6, meaning she said it in the past, she said she would arrive in the future at 6. And then polite opinion. I would suggest a different plan. Okay? There you go. Hello, Lynn. How are you? Can I explain the expression be bound to? Can you give me a context where you saw that or a way that you've seen that before? It could have a few different meanings, or it could a few different ways to use it, depending on what you're talking about. To be bound to or to be bound by is often used when we're talking about things like rules or laws or restrictions of some kind. I'm bound by my oath. That's another one. Or, I think I know which one you're talking about. To be bound, it's bound to rain tomorrow. Meaning it's likely going to rain, right? That's interesting. I'd never thought about that one before. Let me think about that for a second. Let me do a little research very quickly. Let's see. Right. That's what I thought. Let me tell you what this is. Right. So the original usage of the word bound, it's to bind. To bind something means to wrap something, right? To bind is like to tie up something, right? So, for example, if I have many cables, I might bind my cables, meaning to wrap them up, right? And so they're restricted by that. They're bound. Okay, now the cables are bound. That's a past tense form of it. So that's the literal meaning. Then they took the literal meaning and they used it to apply to things like rules. I'm bound by this code. I'm bound by my oath, right? And then they changed that then it ended up being something that suggested a likelihood of or destined outcome. It's bound to happen to everyone sometime, right? You're bound to be embarrassed. It means basically you're destined to or likely to, or it's just going to happen at some point, right? So what I would say is it's kind of like likely to, but it's suggesting almost a destiny, right? If you said, maybe you have some smart kid that a high school kid, and you think he's really smart, and you say, he's bound to be famous one day, or he's bound to go to Harvard, right? What you're saying is that you think they're destined to go, right? Not just likely to go, right? But more like there's a destiny part involved, right? It's bound to rain, okay? It might occasionally be used in a more literal sense, like when talking about the weather, for example, but in most cases, it's talking about more like a destiny. Okay? All right. Hello, Lavu. Are all the different English accents pronounced in a way that makes it difficult to learn English? I wouldn't say that, no. Every language has multiple accents. That doesn't prevent people from learning. What I would say is that there are certain accents that are not typically the accents that are used when learning a language. So, for example, if you learn English, the majority of people who learn English try to learn something similar to my accent, which is my accent is the Midland, Ohio accent. And my accent is considered one of the more neutral. Okay, so for example, the pronunciations that I use are very, very close to the IPA phonetic pronunciation guide, right? So, but if you wanted to, you could learn English with a Texas accent or a Georgia accent or a Boston or New York accent. You could. There's nothing stopping you from doing that. If that's what you prefer, you can. It might make it slightly harder, only because now when you choose a smaller, when you choose an accent that's a non-standard accent, it's likely that it's going to be harder to find good materials for you to study that particular accent. The most common accents are the ones that are used as the standard accent to teach someone a language. But every language has multiple accents. Nearly every language. Every language is bound to have multiple accents. If a language develops over time and distance, accents develop. That's just the way it works. Hello, Nala. Ni hao. Most people keep mixing between accent and pronunciation. I don't know if I don't know if I agree with that. I think a lot of people are worried about the accent, and they know that, especially America, there are, because we have so much media, like TV and movies, and YouTube and things like that, the world is slightly more familiar with the multiple accents that are available in English in America. But also in England. If you go to England, there are many, many, many different accents throughout England. And England is not that big, really, but it's got many, many different accents throughout England. Yeah, anyway. Thank you, Onella. It's one of those things where, as a teacher, if you're an English teacher, then you should be considering your language a lot more. And that, I remember that lesson when I started teaching English. The first year I taught English, It made me realize how many things that I said that I wasn't really aware of the way I say it or what it means or whether it would be confusing for someone. Language is something that most people take for granted. We don't think about it very much. So the words come out, and many people don't consider all the things that could make it easier or harder for someone to understand you. But when you become an English teacher or a teacher of any language, the first thing you should do is reconsider your language, your pronunciation, your accent, your speed, your diction, every aspect of language, your vocabulary, your body language. All of these things are things that you have to start to pay attention to more. If you teach, that's the only choice. Well, yeah. Well, I think so, but I know many, many, many teachers who do not do this. I've seen it. You know, I've seen teachers teach English and teach people the pronunciations incorrectly and teach people the rules incorrectly, and it's not the end of the world. Because people will figure it out. It's okay. It's not, it's not life or death, but it's just funny to me that if you're going to be a teacher, it doesn't mean you need to be perfect in what you do, but it does mean that you need to be very aware of what you do. Am I speaking at normal speed? That's a very, very good question. I'm speaking at my normal teaching speed, yes. My normal teaching speed is slightly slower than my speaking speed in real life, because I'm a teacher. And I have learned that if you slow down by about 10%, maybe 15%, everyone can understand you much, much more easily. Do I teach English on online platforms? Andy, I have my own website. That's where I teach English. On my website, which is right here. And I also have a YouTube channel where I'm live on YouTube right now as well. I'm live on Hello Talk and on YouTube at the same time. Let's see. Nala is talking about... Hello, Nala. Let's see. You dream of yourself every day and you can't find your way home. Well, that's an interesting dream. Well, Nala, dreams are interpretive, but they're usually interpreted, they can be interpreted in more than one way. So, think of them like a gem that has many facets, right? And each facet is a different way of interpreting that dream, okay? Because dreams they're nebulous, which is a word that means kind of not clear, okay? And so, don't assume that you know the interpretation, because it could be something else maybe. But just, worry more about what you do during the day, and that will probably affect how you sleep at night. Okay? You just lost your job and you're searching for a new job, and all of them, English is the first thing that they require, I think is what you're saying, or first rule, right? And actually my English is basic English. Okay, well, then start a plan for improving your English. If you want to learn a language or anything, the first thing you should do is make a plan. Okay, this is something that it took me about 20 years to really learn well. Okay, if you need to study something, anything, those are big. And the first thing you need to do is break this big thing down into small parts. And those small parts can be turned into a plan. You can break each part down more and more until it becomes a plan. So first, consider what you want to study. Then think about what are the parts, what are the most important parts of this thing. Then break those down more and more and more until you understand how to study each part and make a plan to do so. Okay? How can you improve in a few days? You can't improve in a few days. I mean, marginally, a little, but not much. So what you need to do is start a long-term plan to improve your English. Because yes, you're right, there are many jobs that you could get that would probably pay more because you know English, if you know. Your Chinese and your English are more or less on the same level. That expression is not familiar with me. I want more natural way. Could you recommend some other ways? You mean you want some other ways to say that your Chinese and your English are more or less on the same level? You could say my Chinese and my English are about the same. You know, if you say that, people are going to know what you mean. They're going to know that you mean they're about the same level. But honestly, the way you said it, more or less on the same level, is very good. More or less just means about that much. What does it mean, sticks and stones may break my bones? Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. That's a children's rhyme that we learn when we're kids. And it's a rhyme that teaches us that, yeah, if someone throws a stick at you or a rock at you, that's bad, and that will hurt you. But words are just words. Just ignore them, right? They're just words, right? They are hurtful, and they're not good. But it's also... So, you know, I'm not telling people it's okay to say bad things, but I am saying that it's a good thing to consider personal responsibility about how those words affect you. When someone says something rude or offensive, it is rude, it is offensive, but you have a choice as to how that affects you. How much you let it affect you. Right? One moment, everybody. All right, sorry. Okay, what does it mean to be an artist in general life? In general, in life. Noradine, I'm not sure what you mean by that. To be an artist or to be artistic in general in life? Well, that's different for everybody. To be artistic is to be authentic. To be authentic is to be you. One of the most important parts of being an artist is to be authentic. If you're copying what someone else does, that's not art, that's copying their art. So you have to figure out how to do what you do authentically. Okay? That's what I would say. Grace! Hello, Grace. How are you? Nala, that's my YouTube address that I posted there. If you want to send me an email, it's easy. If you just go subscribe to my website, then you can send me an email at my website or a message at my website. Sonny wants to know how to study grammar and vocabulary. Sonny, for grammar, you need at least one good book. There are many books to teach grammar out there. I probably have about 60 or 70 of them. English Grammar in Use is probably the most popular one in the world. However, it's not my favorite. English Grammar in Use is very good, but not my favorite. My favorite is one called Basic English Grammar by Saddleback Publishing. This is my favorite right there. They have a level 1 and a level 2. I like that book. I think you should get that if you need a grammar book. But also, grammar is also something that can be learned very well using AI or ChatGPT or DeepSeek. So ask it to teach you English grammar and start from the beginning. Think about a good prompt. Please teach me English grammar starting from the beginning, and use many examples and exercises so that I can practice. Okay, there you go. Vocabulary. To learn vocabulary, there are many ways to learn vocabulary, but the way that you're using is probably the worst way. Most of you, when you learn vocabulary, you memorize. You choose a random word and you try to memorize it. And the majority of you remember some of them and you forget many of them. And that's because memorizing is a terrible way to learn anything. The number one way to learn vocabulary is to read. Get a story, get a short story. Ask ChatGPT to write a short story. Look online, read an article, read a book, read a novel, read a movie review, read a TV review. Read something. Reading is the number one way to learn vocabulary in any language, but especially English. Okay, the number two way is to get a thesaurus. Thesaurus.com. Go to thesaurus.com. A thesaurus is a book like a dictionary, but it's a book of synonyms. So it's a dictionary of synonyms, meaning if you type in the word happy, it will tell you all the words that are similar in meaning. They're the words that are related by family to happy, right? They have a similar meaning somehow. Okay, they could be exactly the same meaning, like a twin, or they could be almost the same meaning, like a brother or sister, or they could be not a close meaning, but somehow related, like a distant cousin. Okay? The word thesaurus actually means treasure, because that's what it is. It's a book of words of treasure. Like, wow, I can find so many words, new words, so easily, like treasure, finding them, right? So thesaurus.com. And then you can also learn words by topic. Type in the word computers vocabulary list.
I'm not quite sure how to help
sorry
you
about that.
but...
Stop, computer. Type in technology vocabulary list. Type in cooking vocabulary words. Type in sports vocabulary words. And there will be a list of words that you can learn that are about the same topic. So that's a good way to learn because all of those words are related by the same topic. If they're related, you're more likely to remember them because you can picture them. You can imagine them all in a group together, right? If you learn about baseball, there's the baseball bat and the mitt that you hold in your hand and the cap, right? And the the baseball shoes, the cleats, they sometimes call them, right? So you could learn about all these things, and because it's all related by topic, you're able to draw a picture in your mind, and that's why you remember. Okay, and then finally, my other favorite way to learn new words is by finding out where those words come from. Find the history of that word, and many times those words have an interesting history. Okay? So, for example, do you guys know the word tournament? Do you know this word, tournament? What is a tournament? Hello, Belen. Anyone know the word tournament? I'm going to a soccer tournament. I'm going to a volleyball tournament. Yeah, Blanco's got it. A tournament is an event where people compete. Right, so the original tournaments, though, the first tournaments were in Europe. They used to have something called jousting. Do you guys know what jousting is? To joust. It's a very old sport. Jousting. Anyone know what jousting is? Yeah, jousting is like with spears, right? So it's two guys on horses, right? They both are on horses and they're knights. They have armor. They're wearing armor on their body and on their head. And they carry a very long spear-like pole, right? They're carrying this 10-foot, 12-foot spear under their arm. And they ride the horse at each other. They ride directly at each other and they try to hit the other person off their horse using the spear, right? They try to knock you off your horse. That's called jousting, right? Like Lancelot, right? So why is it called a tournament? Because first, the two horses have to charge at each other. They try to charge at each other. They try to hit each other. But sometimes they miss. And when they miss, then they ride back. And what do they have to do? They have to turn around and go back the other direction. And then they do it again and turn around and go back again. So tournament is because the horses have to turn around and go back and turn around and go back and turn around and go back. Tournament. There you go. See, that's interesting. Now you're going to remember the word tournament because I gave you an interesting story about where tournaments come from. Got it? See, that's cool, right? Okay, let me see. I think I missed a couple other comments. Let me go back. What does goody two-shoes mean, and what context is it usually used in? A goody two-shoes is a very old way that we used to talk about somebody who never does anything bad. He's a goody two-shoes. She's a goody two-shoes. Means they never break the rules. They never do anything bad, right? You know, like maybe, you know, you've got some brothers and sisters, right? In any group of brothers and sisters, there's always at least one goody two-shoes, right? The one who never does anything wrong, who always stays out of trouble. That's the goody two-shoes, right? It's funny. I'm curious where I don't know the etymology of that though. I'm going to look it up right now though. Let's find out if there's an interesting story to go along with that. There might be. The phrase goody two-shoes first appeared in 1765 in a children's story called The History of Little Goody Two-Shoes. In the story, Goody Two-Shoes is a poor, virtuous girl named Marjorie Meanwell. She only owns one shoe, but when she finally receives a full pair of shoes, she happily declares that she now has two shoes. Her good behavior and virtue leads her to success. So it's like a children's story that teaches kids to be good. That's it. It's like an old children's story from 1765 about a girl who learned to be good. That's it. Yeah. It's funny. It says Goody is short for good wife, which was a polite form of address for women, like Mrs. in the 1600s. That's interesting. So in the 1600s, they had another way to address women, and they would call them the good wife. And that got shortened to Goody. Okay? And two shoes literally means having two shoes, which was a symbol of improved fortune and respectability at the time. So it was a time when people were very poor, and maybe you didn't even have two shoes. And when you do have two shoes, you're so happy and you declare, okay, well, I'm always going to be good because I'm so content that I now have two shoes. That's why but the phrase, when I was a kid, I didn't know any of that. A goody two shoes just means somebody who is always nice, never does anything wrong, never says anything bad. That's a goody two shoes. Okay. Be patient. There are many questions, and I try to answer as many as I can, so be patient. Let's see. Noradine is talking about like being creative, like never happy, like every day for me to do something new with my knowledge about that. Noradine, I would say if you're trying to be like that, then you should be authentic and you should be curious. And you should chase your curiosity. So find out what you're curious about and start asking questions about it and chase after it. And that will lead you to the creativity that you're looking for. What does benchmark mean? A benchmark means it's a measurement of something. So, we must meet this benchmark means we must meet at least this standard, right? So the company has a certain benchmark for employees. They have to have 10 sales per month. If you can't meet that benchmark, then you're out, right? So a benchmark means a minimum standard or an expected goal, okay? Or expected standard. You want to study the best English? Well, then you're in the right place. No, that's not entirely true. What methods would you recommend to me for you to improve your English communication skill? Mitenka, well, I can't give you any good recommendations because I don't know what your problems are with communication skills. If you can tell me more about why you have trouble, then I can tell you what to do about that. But because I don't know you, if you just tell me how to improve my English communication skills, I can only tell you general tips like practice speaking more, right? Use ChatGPT to try to communicate with it, right? I can give you general tips if you don't give me any specific information. But if you give me specific information about what your trouble is, then I can give you a specific answer. Let's see. What does... Oh, okay. Did you... Miriam, did you hear my answer about Goody Two-Shoes? I'm not sure if you got my answer. Yes, I think you did. Okay, is it similar to straight-laced or to square? Yeah, they're in the same family. To call someone straight-laced or to call someone square. I would say that all three of those phrases are a little dated, a little old. Straight-laced might be okay still, but to call somebody square, I don't think I've ever actually heard anyone call anyone a square. That's a phrase, that's a slang term that was popular when my parents were kids. so it's pretty old. A goody two shoes, I think you could still get away with using that one, probably. I think maybe many young kids don't know it or use it, but I think the majority of older people certainly would. Straight-laced, I think you could get away with still using. Okay? All right. Again, please be patient. I'm trying to get to all the questions. Back and... Sissy, it's not back and force. It's back and forth. Back and forth. So, back and forth. And back and forth. Forth means forward. That's what forth means. So back and forth. I have to go back and forth to the store. Means I have to go to the store and come back. That's back and forth. Back and forth. Okay? From one place to another and back again. And one and another. I think you mean one another. Be good to one another means just be nice to everyone you see. So one another just means everyone. Okay? Sonny says, I can talk to natives to study new words. You can, but that's not a very effective way to learn vocabulary. That's not an efficient way to learn vocabulary. So you can do it that way, but you won't make much progress because there's no consistency or plan to that. There's no method to that. So it will be very slow. Can I talk about pronunciation, use intonation and stress? How can I use it in reality? Well, that's a pretty hard question to answer. Intonation is certainly a personal thing. Intonation is creative, meaning that the majority of people share a similar intonation, yet at the same time, everyone has their own voice, right? So the FBI, they can do a voice imprint of me, and that voice imprint will record my voice and listen to my intonation, my volume, my dynamics, my stresses, all of those things. And so intonation is almost like a fingerprint where everybody has a certain way of speaking. Some are similar to others, but some are very unique, right? So in that case, I would say don't think too much about intonation. It will work itself out. Intonation is just the natural way that you end up speaking, and it's a natural result of your particular study. Okay, everybody studies things differently too. So the particular things that you study are the reasons why you'll speak the way you do. Okay? Now, stress, it depends on which word you're talking about and which tone you're involved in. If you're speaking in a calm situation, then the stress of words is different than if you're speaking in an angry situation. And so, for example, right now, I'm speaking calmly. But if I'm very angry, then I might speak like this, which means almost every single word has a stress on it. That's to demonstrate anger, right? So emotional tone sometimes plays a role in the stress of words, or syllables even. Okay, so... and there are also many other rules. What I would suggest is you should type that question into ChatGPT, specifically about the stressing of accents on words, which syllables to stress. Type that into ChatGPT because that's a pretty big answer. It depends on the words. Okay? All right. Again, please be patient. Hello, Tomas. How are you? In Italian, there's not a single word to translate jousting? Really? That's interesting. You guys don't have any word for jousting? I can't imagine how that's possible. Duello? No. Giostra is a merry-go-round. Okay, no. I would assume duello is just like a duel. That's slightly different. Oh, but okay, I can. Yeah, maybe that's true. That's true because that's likely possible because a duel. There were many, many ways to have a duel. But I'm going to do a little research, Tomas, because I still think there probably is a word in Italian for jousting that maybe has just fallen out of usage. I'm going to look it up. I'm going to figure it out. Can I explain the differences for the words showtime, curtain call, and what does that mean? And what's the meaning of the idiom takes something at face value? Okay, so showtime and curtain call are pretty much the same thing, but curtain call is generally only used for performers, right? So curtain call is when the performers have to come on stage before they raise the curtain. Okay, so curtain call is, hey, come on, we're ready to go. Get on stage. We're going to pull the curtain up and start. Okay, so that's curtain call. Showtime is more general, and that's the one we use in common daily life. For example, you're at a bar and you see a band and they're setting up their equipment, and you want to know when's showtime. And you're asking them, what time do you start performing? When does the show start? Right? That's the showtime. It could be about a performance. It could be about movies, right? There's even a channel. There's a channel in America, a TV channel called Showtime. And yeah, why? Because it's about movies. What time is it on? What's the show time? Okay, so showtime is a common term that's used to talk about anytime something's starting. Usually a performance of some kind or a movie or TV show, something like that. Okay, but curtain call is usually just for performers like actors or musicians to tell them when it's time to get on stage. Okay, and take something at face value means don't think too much about it, don't look too much into it, just take it as what you see. Face value means look upon it, judge it by what you see, and that's it. That's to take something at face value. Okay? What you see is what you get. Okay? You don't want to see me speaking angrily. I don't think I've seen you get angry. I didn't see you get angry once. I can't speak angrily. I don't know how to make that sound even in my native language. That's funny. Couldn't curtain call mean a reminder? Well, yes. Yeah, sure. Curtain call is at 8. Yeah, sure. But again, the history of where it comes from is from stage performers, usually actors. Okay? So yeah, in a slang kind of a way, you could remind somebody of something, like, hey, what time are we leaving for the party? Oh, curtain call's at 8 or something. It would be like a funny way to say, this is when you need to be ready. Okay? Yeah, and giostra could be a word that did used to mean joust but then turned into merry-go-round due to just historical changes, right? You know, that it used to mean one thing because that thing was what was popular during that age. But then jousting's not popular anymore, so they just used it because, again, it's horses going around. So it makes sense, right? Why I could see why they might call it that. And it does vaguely sound Giostra, joust, right? It sounds vaguely simple or similar, right? So there's a good possibility that could be the original word, but it just got changed over time to mean merry-go-round because nobody jousts anymore. You know, I go to see jousting usually once a year or every other year. I try to go. We have something in my town every year. They have a Renaissance festival. It's a medieval festival where everybody goes, and there's this huge area they set up in the middle of a field that is supposed to look like a medieval town. And you go there and you pay some money and you can walk in and walk through, and they have stores and shops, and everybody's wearing clothes that look like medieval town, you know, medieval time period clothing. There's people walking around that look like knights and magicians and things like that. Here, let me show you. It'll be fun. I'm going to try to go this year. I missed it last year. Let's see. Here we go. It's called the Ohio Renaissance Festival. Let's see. Do they have pictures? Why is this so fidgety? Well, the map is not really working very well. There we go. Okay, so here, let me show you this. Oh, no, not that. Sorry, wrong one. This one. The Ohio Renaissance Festival here. And if you notice, let's see, right here they have a map. And so this is this big area that they turned into like a little tiny village kind of a thing. Right? And so you walk in and you can walk all around here, and they've got shops and they have food, and the food is all supposed to be like medieval food, you know, like giant turkey legs and beef ribs and things like that. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. There's a pub there. They've got a place where swordsmen fight. They have a place where they have jousting here. This is where they have jousting, the tournament. So here, let me show you. Let's see. How do I get back out of this? Back. There we go. Let's see. On the blog. Where do they have pictures? Okay, here we go. Wait a minute. Let me find the pictures part. Oh, here we go. Yeah. So you go and look, this guy's got this giant turkey leg, right? You can see him eating the giant turkey leg, and look, he's wearing like a big fur a coat or cloak or something, right? There's a guy doing archery. A little girl there. There's some performers doing some sort of clown stuff. It's a very, very fun festival. It's a very, very fun festival. I've been going to it since I was probably about 15 years old, 16 years old. They've had it for a long time. Kind of cool, right? Look, there's the jousting. They have real jousting. It's no joke. It's no joke. Look, you can see the joust spear broke. They really do try to knock each other off the horses and everything. It's really dangerous and crazy. But even the kids dress up. Right? So it's fun. It's a fun festival. Hello, Flavia. What's the meaning of run my errands? An errand is something that you need to do, like to go to the market to buy food or to stop at the bank to drop off money or something, or to pick up your kids from school. Those are things you need to do. Those are errands. So to run your errands means to go do the things you need to do, right? So maybe, somebody says, do you want to have lunch tomorrow? And you say, no, I can't tomorrow. I have too many errands I need to run. I need to run a lot of errands tomorrow. That means I have many things I need to do. Okay? Okay, do we say such a boring person or such a bored person? You could say either, but they mean two different things. If you say he's boring, you mean that when you see that person, you feel bored about them. They are not exciting. They are not interesting. They are boring. Okay? But if you say, I feel bored because he is boring, right? So you feel bored. Something else makes you feel it is boring. Right? So this movie is boring. I feel bored. Okay? What's the difference between obstruct and hinder? Not much. Those are roughly the same meaning. To hinder means to obstruct. To obstruct means to hinder. So I would say that in most cases, those are fairly interchangeable. Obstruct might be slightly stronger. As a matter of fact, in America, in different police departments, I think those are words that are sometimes used interchangeably. Obstruction of an investigation or hindering an investigation. And they both just mean doing something to block or to obscure. So if you're lying about something, right? So obstruction would be to block something, right? To obstruct would be to block something somehow. To hinder is like you're getting in the way of them, right? If you're pulling on my jacket, then you're hindering my movement, right? You're hindering me, right? Obstruction would be to stand in front of me. To pull on my jacket would be to hinder me. Does that make sense? Yeah, Bellin, let's hope. So justa is the word for joust in Spanish? Okay, well, there you go. Yeah. Okay, Let's see. Noradine wants to come talk to me. Hello, Noradine.
Hello.
How are you, my friend?
I'm doing great. How about you?
I'm pretty good. Good to see you again.
Thank you. It's a long time.
Yeah, it's been a while. So, what can I do for you
Yeah.
today?
I just talk to you. Huh? You are my friend. The
Okay.
last time I'm not good student.
Huh? What do you mean? You're a great
The
student.
la- no, I'm not support and go every day to learn English and to improve.
Well, learning is a long-term project that you never finish.
Yeah.
So just as long as you keep working on it, that's all that matters. So just it's okay if you put it down for a day or two or a week. Just come back to it. Just remember that learning is part of who you are. It's not something you can stop. It's something that you'll keep doing.
Yeah. But I think in the last time the way we learn some English is another way. It is learn some article and get some new words and some new vocabulary to improve it and to
Yeah,
shape this.
sure. But even your brain needs a vacation every once in a while.
Yeah.
So it's okay to take a break. Sometimes you'll feel more refreshed. If you step away from something for a little bit, you can come back to it and feel more refreshed.
But the thing I learned in some months ago, it is to try to push my mind to try to write my pure English and try to be correct without use any tools like ChatGPT or something like this. But really, many people use these. But for me, I don't like to use it, to be honest, because I want to be more creative and to write something that I know and I can understand. Even a simple one line, more than 10 lines that I don't understand.
Well, I understand why you feel that way, but what I would tell you is there's no need to be afraid of ChatGPT. It's not if you use it the right way, then it won't be a cheat. It will be something that will help you learn. So what I will tell you is I use ChatGPT every single day. I honestly do. At this point, I use it every day. And I use it in creative ways. So ChatGPT can be a creative tool if you use it creatively. And I do. In many, many, many ways every day I use it creatively. And I don't just accept it. Whatever it tells me, that's good information that now I use to paraphrase based on what I feel and what I think. So I use it to learn things. I use it to explain things. I use it to explore ideas. Many times I have an idea that I think about, that I want to know more about, and then I'll talk about it with ChatGPT like it's a partner to discuss a problem with, right? And we try to find a solution, right? So I always tell people ChatGPT is just a tool, which means a tool is only as good as the user. So if I give a hammer to a baby, that baby will destroy my house. But if I give that same hammer to a carpenter can build me a beautiful table or bookcase. So it's the same hammer used two different ways. So ChatGPT is like that hammer. It can be used in brilliant ways to help you learn. It is the number one most incredible technology that we have created on this planet. We have never created anything as amazing as it. So I would encourage you to try to use it. Just try to find a better way to use it. Don't be afraid of it. Embrace it, but find a creative way to use it.
The thing that make me very afraid or aware about this is that I don't like to be someone like lazy, because in sometimes I can write like one word, but I don't. If you I didn't have the ChatGPT now, I cannot write this correctly, like straightforward and some simple words.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. When you use ChatGPT, you only use it in English, right?
Yeah, in English.
Okay, well, guess what? You can use it in Arabic. You know that, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
In all
so
the language.
right, so you can use it in any language. And what I'm trying to say is sometimes I want you to remember that ChatGPT is useful for English, but ChatGPT is just useful for learning. Period. So if you have something you want to know more about, you can ask it in Arabic. That's fine too, right? So
And test them, yeah.
yeah, just remember that it's like, just imagine it's a teacher that's in the room with you 24 hours a day. That it's always there and you can ask it a question anytime you have a question. That is amazing, because we've never had that before. The way it was until now, up until now, it used to be that everyone in this world, we have questions that we don't ask because we're afraid to annoy someone or bother someone.
Yeah.
But now there's something that you can ask those questions to, and it's not going to be annoyed and it's not going to be bothered. So you should explore all those questions you have. Explore them. You know?
And a really interesting thing that in the last time I tried to ask them by using microphone and speak to them, and I told them, "How are you?" I told me, "How are you, my friend?"
Yeah.
I ask me, "Where are you going?" I'm asking, I want to go in Casablanca, watching this and this, and asking me a really funny question. I'm really enjoying, like my friend. My
Yeah,
friend cannot
right.
ask me like this question.
Yeah, right. Like I'm saying, yeah, it's a completely different feeling talking to it because there's no judgment.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about anything, right? So I think
yeah.
that's useful. That's very useful. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but for
We
English
want to be
also,
smart.
use ChatGPT to challenge yourself. Don't use it to be lazy. Use it to be more diligent.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah. Nice. Then we want to use all these tools in smart way and to push our creativity.
Right. Yeah. But just imagine if 1,000 years ago somebody created the saw, right, to cut wood. Somebody created the saw.
Yeah.
And can you imagine if you said, "Oh, I don't like that saw. That saw scares me. I don't think I want to use that saw. That technology scares me." No, that would be silly. Of course you should use the saw. Just use it the right way, right? The same thing with ChatGPT. Don't be afraid of it just because it could be a way to cheat, or it could be a way to learn.
I think we can control this kind. We need to have a knowledge about many things to control it in order to ChatGPT control us in such a cases.
Yeah.
If I have for example, if I have ask them about English or grammar or something like this, then I want to have a knowledge about English. If I don't have, it can push me another place. I don't know.
It could, maybe. It could, but it doesn't have an agenda. It doesn't have a purpose. You have to give it a purpose. You have to give it an agenda.
Yeah.
So the more you use it, the more it will learn about you. My ChatGPT is quite good now because I use it so much and I use it in very, very creative, intellectual ways, and it has learned about me. So now when I use it, it knows what I want. It knows how I like to get my information and how I like my answers. And I keep asking it question after question. So when I ask a question, I don't just accept its answer. I will keep asking it and keep asking it and keep asking it until I'm sure I have the right answer.
Yeah, this is the answer I need.
Yeah. Don't just ask it one thing and then just write, oh, okay, I have the answer. No, no, no. You still have to question it. Be skeptical. Skeptical means don't just believe anything you hear, right?
Skeptical.
Skeptical.
Very difficult word.
Yes, skeptical. Skeptical. Ske.
Wow.
Ske.
Ska.
Skep. Yeah. Skeptical. Yeah. Skeptical.
Skeptical.
Yeah. To be skeptical
Wow.
means to not believe everything you hear. You should question it. Question it. You know.
Yeah.
The skeptics
Like-
were an ancient group of Greeks who they questioned anything about. They believed that life was best when you followed nature, and they would question anything that was outside of that. So the skeptics, to be a skeptic just means to be someone who doesn't just accept something, they question it. They want to know more. Is that real? Are you sure? That's a skeptic. You know?
Another thing I want to mention about this, why the people, many companies I see try to push or try to build a name from a Greek word. Greek.
Why do they try to take names from the Greek history?
Yeah. Many companies I see go there.
Because they're so famous. That's why the Greeks, I mean, the Romans even thought the Greeks were brilliant. So the Romans copied the Greeks. The Romans studied the Greeks. And we studied the Romans. And so because we admire the Romans, we admire the Greeks. Greek history is a very, very, very critical, important part of Western history. So the way we developed our democracy, it started through the Greeks, and then eventually through the French, and then eventually to the Brits in the U.S. But Greek history is important because the Greeks were they were very formalized learners. They studied things. They wrote things down. They had philosophy. They had concepts and ideas, and they popularized them. Every culture has these things, but not many cultures did them as well as the Greeks, and not many cultures became so famous for it as the Greeks. Like the Egyptians would be the same thing. The Egyptians are the same thing. We use many symbols from the Egyptian mythology too, because Egyptian mythology and Egyptian history is just like the Greek history. It's famous, so everybody knows it, right? I mean, you can ask Americans, and almost American. If you ask an American, do you know who Ra is? They probably know who Ra is, the sun god. They probably know, right? Because we have it in our history, we have it in our culture, we have it in our movies and our TV shows. Actually, America, in the 1800s, when they first, I think it was in the 1800s, when they first started exploring all of the pyramids and the Sphinx, and they found all the ancient tombs, that became hugely popular in America. Oh no, we lost Nordine. There was a whole time period in America where everybody in America was totally fascinated with Egypt because they just not discovered, but the Western explorers had first discovered and explored and studied these pyramids and the Sphinx and the tombs. And it became incredibly popular in America in particular, and also in Europe. So why do companies use Greek mythology and Greek history so much? Because it's famous. It's just so well known. And the same thing is true with Egyptian history. It's famous. It's well known. Okay. Did I miss anything else? Okay. Well, yeah, we lost Nordine probably because of his time limit. I don't know. If somebody else would like to raise their hand and come on stage, they are welcome to. You are welcome to. I have. Well, I'm already over time, but I have time for one more person if one more person wants to come talk with me. So, if you guys are new, if you've never followed me before, here is my website. You can go to my website. You can find a lot of free materials to study English on my website. And if you want to contact me, you can contact me through my website. Okay? And I have a YouTube channel. If you want to follow my YouTube channel, you can find many videos like this one today, where I answer questions from people about English. Many, many questions. Questions about grammar, vocabulary, pronunciation, accent. I have an entire system. I am trying to write a book. It's a very difficult process to write a book, especially when you're a perfectionist like I am. But I have a system. I have a method that I've been working on for a few years now. Well, I've been working on it for 15 years, but I've been the system I have has coalesced in the last 3 or 4 years. That's a good term. Coalesce means to come together. So it has coalesced in the last few years, and I'm trying to get it written, and it will teach you all of my methods. Okay? Anyone want to talk to me? No? Let's see who's here. If you want to come on stage and talk to me, you can. I don't bite. Well, not often. I have all my shots. Hello, Vadim. Good to see you again. What's the topic? Jenny knows I love that question, don't you, Jenny? The topic is English. The topic is life. How about that? Let's just make the topic life. English is part of life. Hello, Angela. Hello, Kiwi. It is your first. Oh, it's your first time here. Oh, well, then maybe you don't know how much I hate that question. Jenny, the topic is English. I teach English. I'm an English teacher. So if you have questions about English, then you can ask me questions about English. I have been on Hello Talk 11 and a half years, almost 12 years. I have about 82,000 followers here on Hello Talk. In every country in the world, I have someone following me, at least a few. I have been on Hello Talk doing live streams and voice streams for about 4 years. I have done over 2,000 hours. I think about 13 or 1,400. I think 1,300 events, 1,300 voice streams or live streams, and 2,000 hours. And I have about 15 years of experience. Okay? So there you go. Who else? There's Vadim. Hello, my friend. How are you? Привет.
Привет. Sorry, I am being here only for a few minutes because
okay.
I see that nobody wants to to go up on the stage. And sorry,
That's
it's a
okay.
little noisy here because I'm walking on the street. And why I visited your stage today? Because I wanted to show you our street and preparing of our city for celebration of the 9th of May.
Okay.
Probably you know the meaning of this day for our nation, for our country, and for former USSR. Of course, you know. And I sorry, one moment. I have to flip my camera. Right now, you can see this is not downtown of our city. I'm not being in some historical part of our city. Of course, it's not cultural center of our city, and we are being nearby the edge of city, some sleeping area, and you can see architecture of former USSR,
Yeah,
some
yeah.
simple Soviet buildings, Soviet blocks of apartments.
You
But
know, Vadim,
you can see.
I have a few friends in St. Petersburg.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
And you can see that in this year in this year our city has many flags, and it's very interesting that some of them have Soviet symbols. So
Yeah, the old USSR symbols. Sure.
sorry, I don't remember how it say in English. I mean, this Soviet symbol with hammer and
Yeah, the hammer and scythe. It's called a scythe. The thing that cuts the grass. Yeah, that's called a hammer and scythe.
yeah. Sorry, I didn't remember this word. And you know, Mark. Recently, I felt some, I don't know, maybe tiredness of this application. I mean, Hello Talk, and it's very sad for me. And I want to find a power to be here, to be to visit different voice room and live stream, and don't forget what I have known for now. Yeah. I mean, if I have no practice of English, if I don't communicate with other people, I understand I will know. I will not get some progress, and I will forget what I have known for this moment, and I don't want that. I don't want to forget what I know for this moment. But sometimes it's very hard for to find time, to find power, and will wish for
Yeah.
being here to communicate.
Well, let me
to
tell you this. Let me tell you two things, Vadim. One is you must remember my most important method that I teach everyone, which is that if you want to practice a language, the number one way to practice is by thinking in that language. And if you think in that language every day, then you won't forget it. It will stay with you. It's not as good as speaking, of course, but it's still very, very good. And it's a very important part of speaking a language well. If you can think well, then your words will come more easily when you want to speak, right? So that's number one. And number two, I will tell you that I think Hello Talk has a new change coming soon that might make things a little bit better, I hope. They're going to be adding a new, they're going to have two different types of rooms for live streams and voice streams, I think, where there will be a distinction between people who are just talking and people who are really teaching. So they will actually have two different ways, two different levels, two different different parts that you go to. If you just want to chat, you just want to hang out, then there's these people that you can check out. If you really want to learn, then these people are really teaching. And I think that will make a big difference for Hello Talk, because right now when you go online, there are so many people just doing random stuff that it's very difficult to find something valuable, something very useful. But I think this will help to do that, I hope. And I'm still pressuring them to also create a system to allow subscribers, like for somebody to pay, subscription to me, $2 a month or $1 a month or something like that. Why? Because if you have subscribers, that means you're more serious about what you do. And if you're more serious, then you'll put more time into trying to do something well, right? Right now, we don't make money. I don't make money doing this. I do this because I want to, and because I want to do something well. I always do it the best I can, right? So, but it would be so much nicer if I had a little support, with a little subscriptions, then I could feel like, this is very worthwhile what I'm doing, and we're helping each other, right? So those two things, if they fix those two things, if they make 2 separate rooms for teaching and whatever, and then they also add subscriptions, that will make a big difference, because they will have a lot more valuable hosts doing valuable things that are valuable for learning if they do those things. So hopefully they will.
Yeah, okay. I hope we will face some useful changes here on Hello Talk, and generally I like this application, and I have met many nice and many funny people here, and it's very interesting for me. Many interesting people here are very interesting for me, from many countries, and not only from English speaking country, originally English speaking country, from China, from Indonesia, and some people have surprised me very much. For example, one person from Thailand who learns Russian and who is going to be a translator from Thai language to Russian language, and
cool.
Vice versa.
Yeah. Yeah, I've met thousands of interesting people here. I've been on Hello Talk since almost the beginning of Hello Talk, for more than 11 years. And I've talked to people in every single country in the world, from every culture, every background, every age. And so, yeah, it's a fascinating place. If you like to meet people from around the world with different backgrounds and different cultures, then it's a fantastic app. I just wish they would give it a little bit more direction, so that it promotes cultural exchange and learning a little bit more than just social media. Right now, it just seems like they're trying to kind of focus on making it more like just a regular WhatsApp, kind of a Telegram, kind of a, it's just for chatting and stuff like that. But when they started this app, it was an educational app. And I just feel like they just need to get back on track a little bit more with the education part of it, to encourage people to remember that was the purpose of this app, was to learn and share, Yeah, share culture, share learning, share knowledge, share language, all of those things, That's why I love this app.
Okay, Mark, sorry, I have to go right now.
That's okay.
It's too noisy here.
No problem.
It was nice to meet you again.
Yeah, it was wonderful to talk to you again,
okay?
Vadim. Take care, my friend. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye. Okay. Jenny, if you want to come talk to me, that's fine. I don't... If you don't need help with English, then that's fine. You can just chat with me if you want to. If not, that's okay too. Hello, Ali Khan. I'm fine. How are you? But if Jenny, if you don't want to come up, then I'll probably get going here in the next minute or so. Jenny, are you still here? I'm looking. Oh, there she is.
Sorry. That's my.
Hello, Jenny.
Okay.
Do you want
How do I switch
I can turn the camera off if you want.
It's okay.
Okay.
I don't know how to switch though.
How to switch it to the? Oh, there you go. I think you. Are you trying to switch it to the front? You mean?
Yeah.
If you click the button, there's a menu button, and it should have a little arrow, switchy round arrow button.
The menu?
Yeah, there's a little menu button there that has some functions, some features, right? The little three dots. I think if you click on that.
Oh, that just shows the other lives.
No. I think it's in the bottom right. On the bottom right of your screen, if I remember right. I'm not sure what kind of phone you have, but it should be on the bottom right-hand part of your screen where you see
Okay.
some menu stuff.
Yeah, I found the settings.
There you go.
Hey,
There you go. Settings. That's right. That was the word I was looking for.
hello.
Hello. And you're in the Philippines. Are you in where? Manila or where?
Mindanao.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've been
I'm close
there.
to the mountain.
Okay.
Oh, really?
I went to.
Wow.
I lived in Taiwan for 4 years, and when I was there, I had to go renew my passport, and the closest place to do it in was Manila. So I ended up in Manila for like 2 weeks. I went to Cebu for a few days, and was in Manila for like about 2 weeks. And it was great, honestly. I mean, I wish I would have been able to see more of Manila, but I had to stay close because I didn't know when my appointment would be, so they'd have to call you
Yeah.
and tell you your appointment is tomorrow. So I couldn't go travel around. I had to stay right there in my hotel. But I just explored all of Manila. It was great, you know. And the food, man, I love Filipino food. Oh man, I miss lechon and sisig and
Oh.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Delicious. And one of my favorite fruits in the whole world, calamansi.
Oh, really?
I love those. Yeah, you can't even get them here in America.
Yeah.
Yeah. But they're
Those are lemon
they're the
pepper.
most delicious. It's the perfect combination of like lime and orange. It's like
Yeah,
little
sure.
lime orange juice, and man, you put that on anything, it's delicious. Yeah.
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 I'm not sure how long I'll be here though, because like it has
Time limit. Yeah, I
It gave
know.
me a notification that
Yeah.
I'm
Okay,
gonna be-
yeah, it happens. I know. That's another thing I've been telling them to fix is if you're going to have a time limit, one, it needs to be on the screen so that everybody can
Yeah.
see how long you have. Or two, and this is the one I'm really pushing for, they have a time limit that is set where you only get this amount of time per day. I'm trying to convince them to create a way so that you can earn more time on stage
Yeah.
by doing stuff. Like if you share the stream, you get 5 more minutes or 10 more minutes. If you
Yeah.
share Hello Talk, you get 10 more minutes. You know, something like that so that you can earn time to be on stage without paying money, but by doing something valuable for Hello Talk.
Yeah.
You know?
Incentivizing basically.
That's right. Yeah. So I'm trying to encourage them to do that. So your English is
great.
fantastic, as you know, many people in the Philippines. That's one great reason I tell people here, if you want to travel in Asia, the Philippines is one of the most simple places for us to go because so many people do speak really good English. You know, one of my good friends, one of my close friends in Taiwan, he's an English teacher there from my city. His wife is Filipino, and I think I met her when I first went to Taiwan in 2009. They were dating, and now they're married. And
Oh wow.
yeah, and her English is fantastic. I mean, better than mine. You know, so yeah. And yeah, it was a beautiful place, beautiful food, really wonderful people. I enjoyed it quite a bit.
Do you like the beach or like the mountains more?
I didn't get a chance to see the mountains there. So I can't say, you know. I went to the beach and the beaches were great. Of course the beaches were great, you know. Filipino beaches, of course they're great. But yeah, I didn't get any chance to go to the mountains, unfortunately. You know, I was by myself and I had to stay by the hotel and I couldn't really do anything too far. And yeah, but I would love to go back sometime. And now, you know, that's the wonderful thing about what I do. Because I have so many followers around the world now, I can travel anywhere, and there are people who will come like, "Hey, we'll take you around, you know, like show you around." So I hope I can go back to the Philippines sometime and have some people show me around some stuff.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. I think you'll find a lot of people who would like be
I'm sure. Yeah,
great.
yeah. Filipinos are
Kind of.
also very, very friendly. I found.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Too friendly.
Yeah,
Too friendly in some cases. So yeah.
maybe.
It's good though. It's good. It's good. I can actually send you some photos because I'm close to the river over here, and it's just stunning. I went
bet.
there a few days ago. Let me share this a little bit. But I got this rock, and
Oh, wow.
it has like tiny crystals.
Ah, cool. Yeah, you know, I find those in my area here pretty often too. Yeah, my house, where we have a house just behind our house down, there's a big hill, and you go down, there's some forest and woods, and down at the bottom of the hill, there's a creek. And in that creek, the creek is full of, mostly it's full of fossils. It has
Awesome.
yeah, thousands and thousands and thousands of fossils. This area where I live, millions of years ago, was an ocean. And so there are seashells. like,
Fossilized.
yeah, fossilized seashells everywhere. All over the rocks in the creek bed, everywhere you see, and you can see little animals. Sometimes, if you're lucky, you can find. I've got lots of them around here, like squid and stuff like that. You know, yeah. And then, but sometimes you also find. Look, I've got one right here. This is a crystal that I found in the creek, and it's already polished because it had been in the water for hundreds or thousands of years, and it keeps getting tumbled, and so it becomes polished and nice and beautiful. Let me see if I can show.
Oh wow, that's amazing.
And it's crystal.
It looks like a small egg.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, and it's crystal. It's crystal. When I was a boy, my friends and I, we used to spend all our time in the woods playing. You know, we used to just go in the woods and run around. And one day we found this enormous big rock in the creek, and we carried it out and brought it all the way back to my house and to our driveway, and we dropped it on the driveway, and it broke into 1,000 pieces. And inside, all on the inside, was a lot of beautiful crystal everywhere. It was amazing. Yeah, I still have a piece of that somewhere, that rock.
What did you do with it?
I know. We kept it. We had so many pieces, and I don't know what ended up happening to so many of the pieces, because I used to have so many of these beautiful pieces with crystal all over them.
Yeah.
Now I only have one piece left, and it doesn't have a lot. Let me see. I think I have it here.
Crazy. Damn.
Yeah.
Where did those pieces
This
go?
this is the only piece I have left. So this rock was probably I'm gonna guess it was probably about 30 or 35 kg when we took it out of the creek, because it took 3 boys to carry it. So
Wow.
we were three young boys were carrying it out of the river, and so this is what it looked like. So you can see it has all these pieces of iron, but then look at this.
Whoa.
That's all crystal.
That's pretty.
Yeah, isn't that beautiful? Yeah.
Yeah.
So the rock looked like this mostly on the outside. It looked like this. It had iron. That's actually rust. That's rust right here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because it was mostly made with iron. and that's why we took it, because it looked so different than all the other rocks that were around. So we said something's weird about this thing, and we just carried it out, and we happened to drop it, and then it broke apart with all these beautiful crystals. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. Anyway.
So nobody got like a big chunk of like the good stuff inside?
No. I mean, I kept almost all of it, but I don't know what happened to all the pieces over the years. I don't know what happened. Many,
Oh, damn.
things happen over the years, and that's the only piece I have left. Yeah.
Oh. But at least you have one.
Yeah, at least I still have one. I have the memory,
Yeah.
Yeah. And
And
again,
the story too.
yeah, that's what we used to do all the time, is just go find rocks and stones and fossils. And we also have, you can sometimes find Indian artifacts.
Seriously.
Yeah, like arrowheads. The tips of the arrows.
Yeah.
The stone arrowheads. I've found a few of those. I think I have, let me see, do I have one of those? Where do I have that? Let me think. I think I have one. Let me find it.
Okay. Whoa. He has a lot of artifacts. Oh. Sorry for taking teacher Mark away from you guys.
Here you go.
Oh wow. Your room probably is kind of like a museum.
A museum? It is a little bit. I'm a history nut. So I love history, and I love studying things like that and whatever. So yeah. And if you notice behind me, I'm actually a musician too. And so I have lots of historical drums also. Yeah, look, there's a drum behind me there above. That's a drum from India. And I also have another drum from the Middle East over there, and some drums from Northern Africa, and then my drum set behind me here.
You have a lot of drums.
I do. Well, that's actually my number one job.
Your number one job.
Yeah,
What
my main job. I do many things, but the job I've done the longest in my life is I'm a drummer.
Oh, I've
Yeah.
always wanted to learn how to like use the drums, but never did.
It's
never
fun.
did.
It's my favorite instrument because it's like an instrument, but it's also like a sport because it's very, very physical. It's a very, very physical instrument. So it's a lot of fun, and it's almost like exercise while you play,
True.
So, yeah, I love drums. I've been playing drums since I was, I don't know how many years, 30 something years, 35,
Wow.
36.
Have you ever taught like drum lessons?
Yeah. So here's the deal. I started as a musician, and I started teaching drums when I was 18 years old. So my first teaching was teaching drums, and I taught drums until I was about 35 or 36, I don't know, something like that. That was my main job. Was I would teach drums from maybe 1 o'clock in the afternoon until 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock at night. And then I would drive to the club or the bar and perform with bands at night until 2 a.m. and then teach and play and teach and play and teach and play. And then I got burned out doing that. After many, many, many years, I played in every bar and I played every song, and I'd done it all so many times. It was just, I was tired. And then I talked to a friend of mine who was also a musician, and he lived in Taipei, and he said, come over here, man. You can crash on my couch. You can get a job at the kindergarten. You can try something totally different and just see what happens. And that was 2009, and I did. And I quit everything here and left and went there, and that's when I started teaching English. And I found out that being a teacher is teaching is teaching is teaching is teaching. So I just had to learn. I had to brush up on my English, and I had to remember about the rules, and I had to study it again to remember. Okay, I'm teaching this now. I have to learn it enough so that I can teach it again. Because you know how that's how language is. When you learn it in school, you learn it and then you forget it because you don't want to pay attention to all those rules and everything, right? But when you're a teacher, now you have to remember all those rules and you have to learn all those things. And so, so now I've been teaching English since 2009, so more than 15 years. And I love being a teacher, period.
That's great.
But most of my ideas about language learning come from music.
Oh.
Yeah, that's why I have so many followers, because my ideas are a little weird. Because all of my ideas are about... I use the same ideas, the same techniques that I use to learn music. They work for language.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Now I'm curious. Yeah, like with your teaching style and all that stuff. But aside from like Hello Talk, do you have other like channels or like do you have courses and stuff like that?
I have a website right here. It's called AFIECEnglish.com. AFIEC means a friend in every corner. A friend in every corner English. And on there you can sign up for private lessons if you want private lessons with me. If anybody wants private lessons, you can buy them on my website. I'm right now they just are general lessons. So I will do anything you need. I will create a course for you based on what you need. So if you need to study for reading, I'll focus on that. If you need to study for writing or speaking or pronunciation, I'll focus on whatever you need. But I'm in the process of developing specific courses that you can buy. If you want a pronunciation lesson, then there will be one that you can purchase. You know, or an accent or a vocabulary or grammar or whatever. I'm developing some separate courses on my website. But I also have a YouTube channel. I have a podcast. That's most of what I do. I have a Facebook, but I never use it. Most of what I do is there. YouTube and there. I'm trying to build my social media more, but I don't like it. It's not how I want to spend my time. I love teaching and I love language and I love, all of those parts. But the parts where I have to make posts on Instagram and make posts on Facebook and make posts on Hello Talk and make posts on YouTube and no.
That's not the way you want to.
Yeah,
to be,
it's like that's the part that's work. That's the part that's work. That's like, God, I really don't like this part. But yeah, it's what you have to do.
Sure. That's
So,
amazing.
yeah.
I'm currently learning French at the moment, so
cool.
all I know how to say is like bonjour. Comment tu t'appelles?
Okay. Yeah. Parlez-vous français? Yeah. There you go. I know a little bit of a bunch of different languages. I speak Chinese, not perfectly, but well enough.
Yeah.
But I've also learned a little bit of maybe about a dozen other languages, just a little. Just enough to say 10 words, in each language. But I love that. That's like one of my goals is I would love to have 100 languages that I know 10 words in. That would be cool,
True. I'm kind of like going overboard because like I made a book.
Oh, no kidding. Wow. You made a book of what?
Oh no, it's not like I made the book, but I printed it out and I binded it. Like
okay, you bound it. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So you made it of what? Of what is it made from? I mean, like what you wrote? I mean, you wrote it or what?
Oh no. It's a PDF. It's a PDF book that I'm using to learn French at the moment.
So it's like a book that you got online and just made your own copy.
Yeah, basically.
Okay, all right.
Personal copy.
Yeah, okay.
It's very thick too.
Yeah.
800 pages.
Well, you know what I will tell you is ChatGPT is also really good for French. You can learn any language. Oh yeah, absolutely. You can just ask it, teach me French. Here's what's so funny though. ChatGPT in French, it sounds like the French people are always laughing about ChatGPT because in French, ChatGPT sounds kind of like the words cat fart. Eve, can you confirm that for me? Eve is French. Isn't that true? ChatGPT, it sounds a lot like the words for cat fart in. So they think the name ChatGPT is very funny. Yeah, see, yeah, see, kids laugh about ChatGPT in France.
Seriously.
Yeah, because every time the teacher asks the child, where did you get this answer? They can say, oh, I got it from cat fart.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny. Damn,
But-
I haven't learned that yet, but
Yeah.
now I know something else.
But again, Jenny, the other thing I told earlier is that if you want to learn a language, the number one best book that you can get, in my opinion, is not a grammar book like that, those big, huge books. The best book you can get is a travel phrase book.
Travel phrase book.
Yeah, they're cheap, they're small, they're convenient, and they will teach you everything you need to know to get started in that language very quickly. It'll teach you about the pronunciation, it'll teach you the basics of the grammar, it will teach you about introductions, how to introduce yourself, it'll teach you about basic like hello, goodbye, thank you, please, yes, no, all of those things. It will teach you about ordering food at the restaurant, going to the bank, common things that you need to do if you're traveling, right?
Yeah.
So it's the number one fastest, quickest way to get started with the language is get a travel phrase book. They're brilliant. And they're, yeah, because those books that like you have, that's a great book, but it's a huge book. It's huge. It will take you a long time to get through that. But you can get through a travel phrase book in a couple of months. And it's a book that's designed for somebody who's not studying the language. They just want to use, they're going to France for 2 weeks, so they're going to learn French for a couple of weeks, right? Merci beaucoup, right? They want to just say a few simple things, right? But if you use that same book that's only meant for travel, but now study it, it's brilliant.
Yeah.
I have about a dozen travel phrase books for like Italian and French and Dutch and German and many different languages. And they're great. They're just so quick to just learn quick phrases. Here,
was it
let me
travel
type it
book?
for
No.
everybody. Travel phrase book, not Facebook. Here, I have them right here. Hold on, I'm going to get a few of them.
Travel Facebook. That's funny. Yeah, there was like, oh, it's been fun. Oh my gosh.
See, here are a few of them. Here's my Italian phrase book. See, it's tiny. It's and but it's quick, and you can learn so much in it.
Yeah.
Right?
Eve, I don't have a level. I'm level 0. All I can say is like, je m'appelle Jenny. Comment tu t'appelles?
All right,
Comment ça va?
that's pretty good. That's
Yeah.
good. You're getting started. That's good. Yeah, and your pronunciation's not too bad from what I can tell too. Here's one for Mandarin. Here's one for Italian. Here's this one I love. This one is General European Phrase Book. It has 14 different languages in this one little book. And just beginner stuff, just basics.
Yeah.
Greek, Italian, Norwegian, Dutch, Finnish, French, German, Danish, Russian, Spanish, Swedish, and Croatian, Serbo-Croatian.
Wow.
So yeah, these are really great because they're so small and they're so convenient and they're very. They teach you everything very basically and quickly, you know. So yeah, they're great.
Mark, I think you should sell some of those books because
I know,
some
right?
of the people in the chat are like,
Yeah, I
where
know,
can I
right?
get the book?
I know, yeah, I know, right? Yeah. Well, that's actually something I'm working on. I'm going to try to get some companies to do that for me, where they will give me a special link, and then you can buy their travel phrase book from my link, and then I get a little piece of it too. Yeah. So, yeah, I know, right? But honestly, Lonely Planet is one company that makes a lot of great travel phrase books. Berlitz is another one that makes great travel phrase books. This one is Langenscheidt. That's a German company, Langenscheidt. And then, yeah, this one's Lonely Planet. Lonely Planets, I think, are some of the best. And then this one is some other company, Dorling Kinzerli. You know, but there are so many companies that make these. But yeah, honestly, they're just so great because most people, when they learn a language, you know, if you want to learn Spanish, you get a Spanish grammar book or, you know, book one. And it's honestly, it's too much. It's like, did you know, Jenny, that in America, if you study a language, we don't learn languages usually until high school, right? So, yeah, it's kind of weird. So, in high school, you have to choose a language. And most people choose Spanish or French or, you know, German, Italian maybe. And the success rate of language classes here is about 30% or less.
What?
Yeah, so you'll study for 1 year, and after 1 year, less than 30% of the class will retain anything or be able to use anything that they have. Most of them will not be able to use it at all. That's depressing. And part of the reason why is because they use these books that they are trying to teach the entire language like an expert. But what they should be trying to teach kids is, can you speak? Can you use the language? That's it. Can you use it? I'm not asking, can you answer questions about French grammar? No. Can you go to a restaurant and order a croissant? Right? Can you go to a restaurant and order some food in French? That's much more important than asking about the grammar. You know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's what all the American schools do is they focus on things like grammar and they don't focus on practical ability. And so most people who study languages here, they don't really learn anything. But I think if they used something like this as their book, they would.
True.
You know,
True,
I think that they would, you know, just imagine if you gave a bunch of kids a travel phrase book and you said, you know, hey, we're going to learn this. And at the end of this, if you take a trip to Germany, then you'll be able to speak German using this book, you know? Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
And they'd be more inclined to actually, like, carry the book with them all the time.
That's right. Yeah, and that's another reason I love them, because they're tiny. You can carry it with you. And, you know, as convenient, you know, phones are very convenient, but I still think this feels better. You know, holding it and opening a page and being able to mark it on the page with your hands. You know, I have an entire library on my phone. I have thousands of books on my phone, but I still prefer a real book.
Yes,
Yeah.
me too. I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
But Mark, this has been on my screen, like the VIP thingy, and I think if I click it, I'm gonna disappear.
Yeah, probably.
So-
Yeah, probably. Yeah. So that's okay. But Jenny, it was wonderful to talk with you. I need to go anyway. I need to go get some lunch. I'm way over my time. But no, it was great to talk with you. That's why I like to do these things, because I like to talk to people from around the world. Usually I just, the thing is, I get burnt out on here sometimes too. And part of the reason why is, well, because I tell people that sometimes teaching here feels like when people go to the beach in the Philippines and they take a little sand with them. And when millions of people do that, what happens to the beach? Right?
Yeah.
And so that's what I feel like.
Yeah.
Some people come on my streams and they ask me a grammar question and it takes a little piece of me. And every time they're just taking a piece of me and I never get anything back. But when I get to talk to somebody like you, or when I get to make a connection, then I feel like I'm getting something back. So,
I'm happy.
no, but no, me too. Because like, again, lots of people, they just want what they want and they want it now. You know what I mean? So they come on my stream and they don't pay attention. They don't really care about me. They just want their question answered.
True.
And I don't want to say that that's not everybody. Most people are really great. Most people are very nice and supportive. But I have about 82,000 followers. And so that means it happens a lot. And when it happens a lot, then eventually it starts to wear on me. And then teaching's not fun when I feel like it's all take and no give.
Yeah. Yeah. I understand.
Yeah.
I understand.
So, but when I get to talk to somebody and tell them how much I love Filipina food and that I've been there, and that's great. I love that. So thank you. I appreciate it.
Share your experiences rather than just explaining something to
That's
some
right.
people.
Yeah. I can't stop myself from teaching. It just comes out even when I don't want it to. But unfortunately, sometimes that means I can't control when I'm giving, and then I feel like I need to stop because I have no more to give. So, but that's the nature of being a teacher. It's a passion-based career, and
True.
that means that it's a career that you have to give as much of yourself to as you can to do it well, and that's a dangerous thing. Sometimes you give too much every once in a while. So,
Yeah, you need to fill your cup sometimes too.
that's right. Yeah. So lots of people have been angry with me because for the last week or two I've kind of been taking a break. I used to do streams like 10 times a week.
Seriously?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, it's a lot. I know. But then I started feeling, like I said, like somebody's just taking the beach every day, and yeah, it doesn't feel good.
Yeah.
So I've been taking a break for a little bit, but now people are complaining, like, "Where are you, Teacher Mark? Why aren't you here every day?" Yeah, and I'm like, well, I'm tired. I'm tired, man. I need a break.
Sure.
So, anyway. Well, Jenny, it was a pleasure to talk to you, and please come back and see me again sometime, okay?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, make
Pleasure's
sure you
mine.
send me a message, and I'll send you some pictures from when I went to the Philippines.
Oh yeah. Okay. We'll
Okay.
exchange some
Yeah,
photos.
sure.
later on.
Okay, yeah, you can show me the mountains.
All right.
Okay?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah,
I will,
absolutely.
Definitely.
All right, thank you, Jenny. I'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye.
Okay. How are you, Gunter? You're alive, but really, really busy these days. Yeah, I'm about to get busier too. Did I work in radio? No. You only think that because I know what they know. So, I don't have a radio voice. You think I have a radio voice because I have an excellent microphone and equipment that makes it sound like I have a radio voice. If you want to spend a lot of money, then you too can have a radio voice. Okay, I do need to go because I'm very hungry. And I need to do some work. I have some important emails I need to reply to and some important things I need to get to today. But it was nice to be back, at least for a little while. It's like a DJ. Well, I don't want to tell you, but there, like I said, there are some magical tricks that I use to make myself sound the way I sound. What am I going to cook? I don't think I'm going to cook anything. I think I'm probably just going to make a quick sandwich. Just a quick sandwich, maybe. I'm not sure. Yeah, probably just a quick sandwich. So, all right. Thank you very much. Guys, I'm going to go to have some lunch. I will try to be back tomorrow. I wish I could tell you what my schedule is going to be, but right now I just can't. So I'm going to teach you a phrase. Right now, my schedule is touch and go. Touch and go, which in this case means I don't know. It means maybe I'll do it if I can, or maybe I won't if I can't. It's touch and go. That's right, touch and go. That means we don't know if things are going to start or if they're not going to start, or we don't know when we're going to be there. Okay, my schedule is touch and go. Yeah, that means to be announced. TBA, there's another one. TBA. TBA means to be announced. Sometimes if you see a performance, right, you want to go to this place to see some music, and you see many of the dates, they have a name for the band, right? This band on Friday and this band on Saturday, but on Sunday it says TBA. TBA means to be announced. Okay? Touch and go, yeah, it's pretty common. Yeah. So my schedule right now is TBA. It's touch and go. I don't know. I will be here when I can be here. And if you can join me, that will be great. All right? All right, guys. I'll see you guys next time. Here's another phrase. Catch you on the flip side. It's an old phrase that just means bye. I'll catch you on the flip side, okay, guys? Bye.